Welcome to LCB. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of a news breakdown with old Clemmer, and we're going to be doing reviews of two movies, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which just hit theaters recently, and Fall Guy, which hit a couple weeks ago.
You don't need to call me old Clemmer.
Old man Clemmer?
What's happened is Clemmer.
Just
I mean,
Clemmer?
everyone knows I'm old. You don't need to, I don't call you bald Kenjack.
I'm not bald.
Well, you're on your way. I'm not old, but you're more bald than I am old.
I don't know if that's true. It's probably a close race. It's a close
people
race.
Live to be 80.
I'm catching no strays right now.
People live to be 80 years old.
I'm looking at
you are more. I am halfway through my life. You are more bald than I am old.
I'm halfway to bald.
That's kind of sad.
I'm halfway to bald.
What's that?
You're halfway through your life.
I'm more than halfway. When you turn 40, that's a real, you have to really think about it. It is something all my friends, when they turn 40, were like, fuck. We've lived more years than we're going to live. It's quite
past the halfway point.
Kind of like your hair.
Yeah, I think maybe the more I think about it, we're about halfway there.
I think so.
Until I go to Turkey and get this shit replaced.
I can't go to Turkey and get younger, so you might win that one.
First up, again, we got a lot of news this weekend, mostly because of Upfronts. First up, we had the WB Upfront. Wicked trailer came out right ahead of it. Wicked, I've seen the play.
Me too.
You have?
I have as well.
They did like field trips for it at school.
I love going to see Broadway shows. I actually went and saw it a few months ago.
It's a classic New York, if you went to high school in Long Island.
Okay, that's a field trip.
I did not. I went there on my own, with my wife, and we brought her parents.
Yeah.
I think the play kind of stinks. I don't like it. I love Broadway musicals.
It's like 3 hours long, right?
It's very long.
I wasn't. Yeah.
I don't think the music's terribly good. I know people do love it, so maybe I'm really going against the grain there. Yeah. I think it I give it like a C- D+.
I did not enjoy the show. This one, though, directed by John Chu, did Crazy Rich Asians, among other things. It stars Cynthia Erivo, who's amazing. Ariana Grande, who's obviously got an incredible voice. Michelle Yeoh, Jeff Goldblum. Also, the Ethan whatever, the freaky guy that Ariana Grande is dating now.
He's in this?
I didn't realize it. I saw him on the sheet.
I got to tell you what. I've never believed that ugly is contagious, but good Lord.
Yeah.
Ariana Grande is looking rough lately. I think it has everything to do with hanging around with that squid.
I think it's the fact that for this role, she was so blonde that she didn't have eyebrows.
Yeah, she is bizarre looking.
It's funny. Winona Ryder, when she went blonde for Mr. Deeds, looked amazing. Ariana Grande, who's very pretty, when she went blonde for this, not the same.
So this trailer is about 20 minutes long. And it gives you the entire movie the entirety of the movie is displayed to you in this trailer. Horrible trailer, looked awful. Like the visuals of it has that really bad over CGI sheen to it, which is just so gross. It's one of those movies though where like after I was done with the trailer, I'm like, I'm definitely not. It's not for me, and that's fine. But I also think for the audience that this is intended for, which some people are like, oh, it's a kids movie. Oh, it's a kids movie. I think this is a young millennial woman movie. Like,
is it even though? I don't have any friends that are excited for this.
But
they
that's
were
what
all
I'm saying.
roasting it too.
That's their target audience, is what I'm thinking. Is like them, and they get them wanting to go with their kids, maybe.
I have to think that's right? Like that's who I imagine they're angling for.
Because those are the people that liked it the most, the play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the actual Wicked.
Right.
So I don't know. It looked like dog shit to me.
But does Wicked the play even have shooters like that? Like
it's been on forever.
It's an iconic play, but
it is one of the most success. It might be the most successful musical this century.
People do love it.
Man, and the fact that
you had Hamilton, but the reason I'm saying this over Hamilton is this has been running twice as long as Hamilton.
Yeah.
If you look at and obviously it had the advantageous thing where it came out 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But if you look at just the box office receipts, and that theater, by the way, is huge. It plays in.
Yeah.
This might be the most successful musical this century, which is wild.
I'll tell you right now, the movie will not match that success.
No, God, no.
And by the way, this movie is a part 1.
Yes,
which they are sweeping under the rug.
I think they showed, if you know the musical, I think they showed a lot of the trailer that we saw was part 2 stuff.
Yep. It was very confusing.
So what are they doing?
It's very confusing.
If I were them, I would just... They might have time to recoup this. They're going to split it into 2 if they've already decided on that. But I was going to say, just cut it down to the fucking songs. Just make it an enjoyable watch. And
it's got to be the songs.
Yeah, and then just make it one movie. Yeah. 2 people are not going to show up for 2 Wicked movies back-to-back summers.
Especially the first one stinks.
Yeah, especially the first one's bad.
I mean, like you said, we're not the intended audience probably for this.
Yeah.
I saw the music. I do love musicals. I didn't care for this musical. You have to pay me a good amount of money to see this. You probably have to pay me in the hundreds and hundreds of dollars to go see this.
To go see the Wicked movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks good.
It looks terrible. I noticed it just looks bad.
Next, though, a more exciting thing is the teaser for the Dune series, Dune Prophecy. Dune Prophecy, it's set 10,000 years before the birth of Paul Atreides in the Dune universe. I believe it's 6 episodes were completed, or I guess it's for this like series anyway so far. It stars a couple of people that I think most people would recognize.
Mark Strong, baby.
Mark Strong's a big one, obviously. And then I'm trying to think of what her name
face?
was.
Emma.
Yeah, where is Emily Watson,
Yeah.
who was really good in Chernobyl. She was amazing in Chernobyl.
She was nominated for Oscars as far back as like the late 90s, right?
And she was super talented. But though after those two, it kind of gets like a little like I don't know any of these people. It's made by Alison Schapker, who that's a name I'm like I don't know the name, but like maybe they've done good stuff. And like some of their things that she's worked on. She worked on like Alias, which is obviously very popular. She worked on Brothers and Sisters and Fringe, which I never watched, but people said were good. But then her sci-fi work was super sketchy. So her sci-fi work is the 4th season of Westworld, which Westworld after season like 2 is just bad in general.
Didn't people say it kind of got better?
It was like a
3?
very light, but it was only compared to the 3rd season, which was really dog shit, like super low bar. And she came on for the 3rd season of Lost, which is when it came on to it really like nosedived.
That's a terrible season.
Yeah, it nosedived after that. And then she did the 2nd season of Altered Carbon. And Altered Carbon, the 1st season was I really liked the 1st season. Of Altered Carbon. 2nd season was so bad, so bad. So like when I see all that, and then I see that she's attached to this, I'm very hesitant to be like to sign up and be like, oh, let's do it, especially because Dune is so great. But I doubt that the powers that be or whatever would, give this girl or this woman the green light if she didn't have like a really good vision for it. So very hesitantly excited for it.
Yeah, I think hesitant would be the right word. A lot of trepidation here because while I love the Dune movies, that is a Denny and team project, and none of those, I don't think
his production company is
his production company. If his right hand man's on it, which I watched my Dune copy finally came this week, Dune Part 2, and I watching the behind the scenes features. His production designer is a genius. Mm-hmm. Everyone talks about him like everyone on set when they're doing the interviews, they're like, oh yeah, no, this guy's he's a fucking mastermind.
Kind of like a more new like Sid Mead. In a way. Do you
okay.
remember
And he worked with Denny on Arrival, Sicario, all of his best stuff. And if they have none of that stuff there, it's like where the expectations going to be?
It looks great. Like
it looks great, and I like that it's 6 episodes.
Yeah.
By the way, I really like that.
Yeah.
But it's a TV show. There's going to be a massive drop off in quality, no matter how you cut it. Like I don't know.
My only counter to that is that just based on the look that we got, it looks like it's a lot more conversations behind closed doors, which is smart because like one of the biggest and most impressive things about Dune is the scope, right?
Yeah.
Like everything is huge, massive, scaling is humongous, and it still retains like quality. And this looks like, hey, you'll get like a couple shots of that, but like you're mostly gonna have like it's more political maneuverings. You know what I mean? Like that's their intrigue, and like that's all happening behind closed doors, small sets, which is smart. You know what I mean? You don't want to try and replicate the on-screen experience of Dune.
But this TV, and I love Batman, right? Batman's like, I don't really love the Batman, but it's fine. Like, and Colin Farrell was probably the best part of that movie. And they have the Penguin show on HBO, right?
Series,
Same kind of thing. And you have the Marvel stuff. Making the TV shows out of the movies, I have no, it seems exhausting. It seems like a chore. I hate it.
It's becoming a chore. You're exactly right.
I hate the idea of it. It's just like, just run the fucking movies.
There's
what are we doing?
Too many of these franchises now have spin-off TV shows, and it's at first a lot of fun. Like, don't get me wrong, it was a lot of fun. But now I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Like Peacemaker.
If you're into a fandom,
example.
then yeah, I think
what is it? Marvel? What they show on HBO? ABC. Was it the Marvel show they had?
She-Hulk was bad. Is that what you're
No, the one they had on ABC, the first one. Like the one they had on with Clark Gregg in it. They had it.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And that was like
that was
non-canon. Non-canon.
That was good for a few seasons. I have to.
And it had a really hot girl in the show.
I thought it was trash. Like, this is like not good television.
So the first 2 seasons, when they line up with the release of Winter Soldier and they have the whole Hydra turn during it, very cool. After that, nosedive, big nosedive.
But I think these movies are asking us to do too much as an audience. Like
as long as it doesn't, and this being set 10,000 years before is also probably the best move.
Right.
I think it should be just like additional, basically like, have you ever gotten like, perfect example, the Dune series, there's like 17 books, but they have one book that's like a Dune glossary. Like I think it's the Dune history book. It's like, if you want to expand your knowledge, here it is. It's not canon anything. It's not required reading, but you can read it if you really want to. That's what these shows should be. If the real fans want to watch it, it'll expand their experience. But outside of that, this shit should not tie in one bit into the movie.
But if you're the studios, you want them to tie in a ton because otherwise, why would people watch? So like I'm sure they're getting pressure from the studios, or this is on Max, right?
Yeah.
So like from Max, like we got to tie us into the movies as much as possible.
But at some point, you don't even want to watch the movies because you haven't done the homework.
That's right.
Based on what we saw in the trailer, I'm assuming that this is all the Bene Gesserit putting the plan into motion to create Paul Atreides, right? So this is like that tie-in is there, but there's no like direct like one-to-one like, oh well, now you're gonna see a future vision of Timothée Chalamet. Like,
my wish for this, I would love to see them just expand on the lore that they had to cut from the movie, stuff like the Mentats, the Bene Gesserit. A lot of that stuff was cut out, like that kind of stuff that just doesn't fit into the movies, but isn't going to play a role into Messiah if that ever happens. Yeah. Do that here, but don't make it anything more than it needs to be.
Sometimes these series are good though. I don't want to give credit specifically with Peacemaker. Like Peacemaker is like,
people like The Mandalorian too.
Yeah,
but even then, Peacemaker doesn't. It's a side character. It doesn't move forward anything. I don't think storyline wise. I mean,
no, but that's what we're saying is good, right?
Yeah. I think all these shows should be like that for the most part.
But there's some movement.
I can't even think of one that
Amanda Waller's in it, and like Amanda Waller's kid is in it, and like different people are involved, and like depending on James Gunn's reboot of the universe, it'll depend.
I think the real test will be when we get this Mando and Grogu movie to see what kind of turnout that actually gets,
and that's the flip side of this. That's the reverse,
which is like you have to watch. It's gonna be you have to watch the 4 seasons, the 5 seasons leading up.
Yeah. Disney did their upfronts. Daredevil Born Again is going to be coming next March. Charlie Cox obviously back. Vincent D'Onofrio coming back, and Jon Bernthal coming back as Punisher. D'Onofrio had to. I mean, he's been never wants to stop playing Kingpin. He loves it. Charlie Cox seems to like love coming back to do more Daredevil stuff. And Jon Bernthal is like one of the we did underrated actors recently. I drafted him. I love Bernthal. I think his Punisher is a great character. And I think the fans of like the Netflix Marvel shit was more miss than hit, but they got all the stuff that hit and brought it back, which I think is smart. They got like a little bit of Jessica Jones coming back. They have obviously a little bit of Punisher coming back, and then mostly focusing on Daredevil Born Again with Charlie Cox, which is the biggest win.
You know, the funniest thing is like they've done all that, and they're still like fucking fans online like, where's Iron Fist?
Iron Fist and Luke Cage? Like just
oh
duds.
My god, just a terrible show.
But those who are coming back, I think is good. And then Daredevil, I did like. I think that was probably the best Netflix.
Oh, I think by far out of the Netflix Marvel stuff. Yeah, for sure. And even then, that kind of had a dip at some points, but
for sure
across all seasons, it was a good watch, and the action was always reliable more than anything. Great action. Yeah. The Bernthal introduction was great, and the fact that they got the side characters back, which was insane that they ever took that off the table.
Yeah.
And where is Vanessa?
Yeah.
Is she coming back?
Good question. Did you see the Ben Affleck Daredevil when it came in theaters?
I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it on HBO.
I saw it in
bad
theaters.
Movie. Bad movie. I love Affleck. I'm like an Affleck defender a lot of times.
How about his roast?
Was it? Oh, his roast. Yeah.
Roast is rough.
But then he'll do things like the roast. It's like, man, like, but I'm at this point in my life, I've been a Ben Affleck fan for what? Since '96. Actually, before that, he did a show called Voyage of the Mimi. Which was a show on PBS, and it was like a documentary feel to it, but it was scripted, and it was this group that would go out and look for whales on the Massachusetts coast, and they would play it in schools. So and Ben Affleck was a child actor in it. I've been watching Ben Affleck since I was in 4th grade.
Holy shit! Dude.
So at this point, I'm in with Affleck until he dies or I die. Probably be him, I imagine.
Holy shit.
But who knows? Yeah. I am old, as you say. So
that's crazy to look at him and like this.
Isn't that crazy? And that's my first. I've been watching this guy since then. So at some point you're like, all right, I guess me and him is like lockstep at this.
They should have cast him in Wicked.
Tom Selleck was in it.
Wicked.
Tom Selleck was in Voyage of the Mimi.
Wait, no, that's not Tom Selleck. It's just a good-looking guy with a mustache.
No, he wasn't Tom Selleck.
Yeah, that's cool. Though.
But Ben Affleck's character went with his grandfather on these whaling trips, and other crew was there. It was actually pretty entertaining watching 4th grade. I don't know if it holds up.
That's cool. But yeah, I think this is that one. Who played Foggy in that Daredevil?
I can't remember his name. He was in Mighty Ducks too, though.
Emilio Estevez?
No, he's one of the Bash brothers. I can't remember the actor's name.
Daredevil movie.
Oh wait, you're talking about in the Daredevil movie?
Jon Favreau.
In the movie, yeah, I thought you were talking about in the show.
Yeah, I do remember.
Did Favreau? Who directed that?
Mark Steven Johnson.
Did Favreau get a writing credit? Or I could be way off.
I could see it.
I might be wrong.
Oh man, dude, his filmography. This guy, Mark Steven Johnson. It's Ghost Rider, When in Rome, Daredevil, Simon Birch.
This man was on a fucking heater.
Who's this guy's agent?
This guy was on an absolute fucking heater.
Man.
This is an unbelievable.
It's a rough list.
Wait, and then he wrote Christopher Robin. What a fucking and he wrote Grumpy Old Men.
Well, Grumpy Old Men is actually
That's
a good movie.
no, but that gets us to what all
But the rest of those movies are horrible.
The things he wrote are great.
Grumpy Old Men's a good movie.
The things he directed are so bad.
No, that happens sometimes.
Love in the Villa. Never.
I'd
heard
rather
of
be a good writer than a director.
He did Finding Steve McQueen. I never watched it, but that seems like something I would like to watch.
I don't know. They say what every writer aspires to be a director, right? And every director wishes to go back to being a writer again.
Writing feels like so much more laid back.
I know.
You just turn in a script.
He wrote Grumpy Old Men. He wrote Grumpier Old Men. He wrote
which isn't as good, but it's fine.
Big Bully.
Big Bully. Who's in that?
Did he do Bigger Bully?
If he did Grumpy Old Men, then it's Rick Moranis and Tom Arnold.
Yep.
It's then Simon Birch, Jack Frost.
Oh, that's the Michael Keaton one?
Yeah, and then Daredevil, and then Elektra.
Oh,
Ghost Rider.
Horrible movies.
Yeah.
Some of the worst movies of that time period.
Yeah, no, legitimately.
Wow.
All-time heater for this dude. But anyway, that's Daredevil. Ironheart is coming next year. It's directed by Chinaka Hodge, who was the most famous thing I guess she wrote was she was a staff writer on Snowpiercer, which I never watched Snowpiercer the series. I love the movie.
Oh.
Never watched the series. What, is it bad?
I don't know. I see commercials for it. I'm shocked that it ran for like more than a season.
I saw so many commercials for it. Don't know a soul that's seen it.
I have not yet. No, I haven't met a single person that's ever watched any of those. It's that one. It's the one with the lady and her sons, I think, and they're running like a drug cartel. It's like Animals or something like that. There's a few of those shows on TNT where I'm like, these are not real shows, and they're like season 5 premiere. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Dominic Thorne, who's obviously played her in Wakanda Forever. Anthony Ramos, Alden Ehrenreich, who I completely forgot was cast in this. Don't know anything about this series really at all, and with the sort of rate that Marvel live action shows have been going, not high hopes. I think their biggest moneymaker right now should be sticking to animated because X-Men 97 has been unreal.
Everyone says it's very good.
You haven't started yet, right?
I've not, no.
It's really, really good. But that's been great. Agatha All Along is coming September 18th. Directed by its showrunner is Jack Schaefer, who's the WandaVision showrunner. She wrote on Black Widow, Captain Marvel. He also wrote The Hustle, which is a terrible movie. Catherine Hahn and Aubrey Plaza, big 2 stars. This was such a fucking mistake. Such a huge mistake making a full show off of like what was a pleasant character in WandaVision. A full spin-off show is fucking crazy.
It's insane. It's insane that this is still happening. It's still like it comes out later this year or next year?
It comes out September 18th this year.
Yeah, man, this is gonna. If it's good, great. But like, even if it's good, it's like what? Great. The WandaVision spinoff show was great. I don't know,
but they can't fix the main thing.
Yeah, you know like I mean? Nothing is changed at all. What are we gonna get? Like a new character that we can then ham fist into more stuff?
It's weird in that like almost the same thing with Peacemaker. Like this, because we have no expectation of Agatha, maybe it could be great in that way. Like, you know what I mean? But at the same time, like, why?
But even then, like, Agatha was fun for the first few episodes. By about like episode 6, I was like, this is just the absolute TV trope of a character.
Is Catherine Hahn an ICB person?
A UCB person?
Sorry, UCB? I feel like she would be.
She might be. Not during my time.
Okay.
I'd never seen her improvise.
You like
that would make sense.
Yeah. It would, because she's. I don't know. The Marvel thing is.
She's from
She won an Emmy for this role. People love to say she won an Emmy for WandaVision because of the weird Emmys that exist, like the guest appearance in a limited series. I think is what she won for, which is like, why is that an award?
She was not in UCB, but she's from Illinois. That's very surprising.
Or maybe she's Second City, or maybe not.
I don't know. She's very funny though. I do really like Catherine.
She's funny, yeah. I mean, yeah, she's funny in doses. I mean,
Yeah, and then lastly, Wizards of Waverly Place like reboot things coming later this year. I don't know how that possibly succeeds either because that's target to older millennials, and that's maybe they'll like it. Megalopolis.
All right, now we're talking.
New teaser.
It's the best movie of the year.
It is. This movie looks like such a fucking disaster.
No, it does not.
And everything we hear about it, production-wise, makes it sound worse. Apparently, like. Coppola would sit in his trailer for hours on end, wouldn't talk to anybody, would be smoking weed for hours and hours.
Without
anything. Heard worse things than that about trying to get intimacy things rolling in certain scenes. But everything about this and everything I see when I look at these trailers and these teasers, I'm like, this looks like ass. This looks real bad.
I'm torn. Obviously, I love Coppola and I want this to work. Having said that, I've seen Jack. So it cannot work. The trailer, Here's what I think is going to happen. It's going to come out, if it ever comes out.
It's premiering. As we speak right now, it is premiering at Con.
Right. Yeah. And it already played a film festival. I meant like wide release.
Yeah.
So let's say this gets a distributor does actually pick it up. And because I guess there's a lot of talks of like no one wants to, because the price tag is so huge. Let's say it does come out, which eventually we'll see the light of day. It's going to be received very poorly. People hate it. And then 20 years from now, it's a cult classic. Mm-hmm. I think that's the trajectory for this film. I think it's going to get roasted. People shit on it. It'll win like Razzies and shit. And then like 2045, it becomes like our kids be like, wow, this movie is wild, or we'll have some like sort of. That's the trajectory. I think this is going to be very poorly received, which is a shame. I will see it opening night. I'm very excited for it, but I don't have high hopes.
I'm in the cult. I've drank the Coppola wine. I am fully invested.
I wonder how his wine actually is.
I'm an investor in this movie. Some would say.
Literally, because you bought it so much wine.
Oh yeah.
There's a whole wiki tab for alleged conflicts on set. That's bad.
I mean, it is bad.
He fired the entire visual effects team.
Maybe they were bad.
And the rest of the department. Like he hired all these, like it's all out of his budget, or out of his pocket, which is the craziest thing, and he couldn't find distributors for it.
Well, yeah, I mean that's a different situation. I mean, you also got to remember too, this guy's 85 years old.
Yeah,
you're putting 85-year-old, although I guess we have a president roughly that age, but you're putting 85-year-old in charge of $100 million thing, and it's his money, so he's calling all the shots. That's not necessarily the best recipe. The muted response to the first screening made securing a distributor for the film hard. Coppola expected a studio to do a P&A campaign of $80 to $100 million, and nobody wanted to do it. That's the thing. Yeah, he wants whoever does pick this up to spend a shitload of money on the advertising. Yeah. No one's willing to make that commitment. I'm guessing he'll end up finding a distributor that's going to have a much lower advertising budget.
What does Dave's checkbook look like these days? Yeah, that could be the first Barstool produced venture.
Well, that's the thing is it wouldn't be Barstool. He just wants a company to pay for the distribution and the advertising.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll swallow the price tag of the movie.
But think about it. Every single poster would just have a little Barstool.
Logo on it. Dude. In theory, you would get some sort of producing credit, I'm sure.
There's a graphic novel tie-in. There's a lot of shit they're going over this. And just like everybody that apparently was involved in it just is not a big fan of it.
So is that even the case of like Adam Driver?
Adam Driver says he liked it. He says he loved it.
Yeah.
He's the star of the fucking movie.
Aubrey Plaza said she loved it.
I'm sure she did. The co-star. The names are so funny. That name.
She's actually like 4th on the cast list.
The
girl from Game of Thrones, I think, is the number.
Natalie Emmanuel.
Is the first female lead.
He also did have 2 people on there that have been like, I don't say canceled, but sort of canceled. Dustin Hoffman has had some allegations, and Shia LaBeouf.
Isn't John Voight in this
cast
John
list
too?
John Voight is
which isn't canceled, but he's just Republican.
Yeah, that's right. In which in Hollywood is
in Hollywood, I guess it's the same thing.
Yeah. But, Aubrey Plaza's character's name is Wow Platinum.
Wow Platinum?
Yeah, Wow Platinum.
You guys do not smoke a little weed and watch this movie.
Vesta
Come on,
Sweetwater, Fundy Romaine.
Dude, when the silhouette was in that big building, when we had the 4 different, he got his hands on digital and he didn't know what the fuck to do.
I like that the statue is just like, and then it like crumbles down like, when you're driving by. I will say, can I give it a little credit here? So I don't hate this trailer as much as you do. Mm-hmm. The opening shots, like how does a civilization end or whatever, and you see the fireballs come down. That's kind of cool.
I'm not saying that conceptually this is a bad idea. He's been stewing on this movie for like 40 years.
Yeah.
So that part I think is fine. It's just that when I look at this movie, everything in my bones, and I've been wrong before plenty of times. What was the one? It was Dungeons and Dragons. Was the one?
Yeah, we were wrong on that one.
I'll eat more shit on that because you and Jeff were definitely way more. I would say
like we were like it could be okay.
Yeah, I was more like you guys got to watch this trailer because this looks like ass, and that was pretty solid. So maybe this will be pretty solid if I hate it this much. Who knows?
I don't think there's an avenue for it to be solid. It's either gonna be great or horrible.
Yeah,
and I think unfortunately that's just kind of where we are with this. And honestly, this reminds me way back, old Clemmer here. 1997, there was a movie coming out that was going to be a disaster or great, and everyone saw it would be a disaster. It was Titanic, and everyone's like, "This movie is so expensive." There's all sorts of shit you hear on set.
Yep.
People were miserable underwater the whole time. All you heard was negative. It comes out, and obviously you know what happens. But I don't think this is the case here, though. I will say.
His last movie was Twixt in 2011, FFC.
Which was a foreign film, I believe. Yeah. Like, he shot it in Italy. I think it's like an Italian language film.
Before that was Tetro.
Yeah, but those were intentionally experimental movies. Yeah. I'm going to defend Coppola there.
So I guess
those were not meant to be enjoyed.
So I guess like The Rainmaker would be like the last.
Right. Which actually is a decent movie. I cannot defend Jack.
It is crazy that he made Jack. Like, that's just a random turn.
In case you don't know, Jack is a movie about Robin Williams, who's aging very quickly. So, when he's, 8, he's like a 40-year-old man. The pediatrician, played by Bill Cosby, adds a layer of bizarreness to the movie. I would definitely recommend. Diane Lane plays his mother. It's an odd movie.
Got a Golden Globe nom for Rainmaker. Good for him. And
Rainmaker's pretty good. So, if you like Good Will Hunting, you have Rainmaker to thank. Miramax did not want to put Matt Damon as the lead of Good Will Hunting at all. They kept fighting it. When they heard he's in the next Coppola movie, then finally Harvey Weinstein said you can have Matt Damon in it. So if it wasn't for Rainmaker, you might not have Matt Damon.
After Megalopolis, Roadhouse 2 is in production. I don't think that's a movie that demanded a sequel necessarily, but I mean, it was fun, stupid Florida fights. Sure, why not?
They just made it like Reacher, like a season of Reacher. The movie was, so I guess they're just gonna do it again. They'll just go to a different town.
Jake Gyllenhaal's just gonna waste his career. That's where we are now.
Who did what the fuck is his? What was Conor McGregor's name in it again?
Knox.
Did he die? I forget.
Yeah, he did.
He died, right?
Yeah, he died.
Was it a neck?
I'd be fine with him not being dead though.
That'd be very cool.
Yeah, whatever.
He's back.
Whatever.
We're not upset about Gyllenhaal wasting his career on this shit. Like, what are we doing?
This can't be that complicated of a sort of a shoot. You know what I mean?
I know.
Like,
what are we doing?
If this is like some big like Marvel green screen in Atlanta franchise thing, like yeah, sure, that'd be wasting his time because that's going to be like months of shooting. I can't imagine Roadhouse's production takes that long.
I can't imagine either. But what are we doing? I mean, it's just like the guy is my age,
super talented.
He has 1 Oscar nomination. Like at some points, like figure it out. Unless you don't want to. Unless this is what you want to do and this is more fun, then more power to you. I'm not gonna. It's his career. But it's just like as someone who likes those kind of things, like. I like the actor a lot. I just want him. I want him to get an Oscar one day. I want him to have that sort of. Roadhouse 2 does nothing for me.
Does he just want his own franchise? Is that what it is? Because he doesn't have one yet. What else? He doesn't have one.
No,
does he?
Doesn't have one.
Yeah, so this would be it.
He's a bad guy in Spider-Man. One episode.
Yeah.
He stabbed him to death. Now I remember. Stabbed Knox to death. He's definitely alive then.
Oh yeah. Someone would show up and like patch him up.
I completely forgot about how that whole movie ended. I just remember everything going into it.
Knox comes back.
Talk to the hand. Fucking such a funny, so stupid, but it's funny. Live action Tomb Raider is coming to Amazon, written by Phoebe Waller-Bridge. As far as the Indiana Jones go, and that's like I guess the closest comp you're gonna get for like a Tomb Raider type deal. I think she was like okay. The kid is the problem with the newest Indiana Jones. So as long as she's writing this and there's no kid inclusion, then I think we could be onto something.
She's not starring in this.
She's not starring in it. No.
Yeah,
but
I was gonna say.
I'm sorry, it's like she wrote Fleabag. She wrote like all these like very funny, very interesting things, and I think that she could be good. You would also I think you need, with an action movie like this, you need like the 2 big things are really cool adventure story. You need a lot of practical on-set locations, because that is so huge with getting you immersed.
Especially with this type of thing, yeah.
Exactly. And I think as far as Tomb Raider goes, you need like the best fight choreographer you can get. And I think those are like the big 3 sort of keys to victory for Tomb Raider. Don't say big boobs.
You need a hot girl. You gotta have a hot girl playing Lara Croft. She is an iconically hot video game character. Like you gotta have a hot chick playing.
I like the first 2 Tomb Raider movies. The Jolie ones.
I saw them like on like cable, but not really.
So did I. I didn't watch this in theaters. But
not really.
I just remember they played like all these like Where's Your Head At and like British bangers. And it was John Voight actually played her dad.
That's right.
Yeah.
A real dad.
Yeah.
They don't get along anymore though, right?
And the two villains in the 2 movies, I think, were Gerard Butler was one of them, and then Daniel Craig was the next.
Oh, all right.
So that was like a breeding ground for stars. I think Sean Bean was a bad guy.
You never say from Sean Bean showing up in a movie as a bad guy.
It wasn't Sean Bean, actually. It was, do you remember in Game of Thrones, Jorah Mormont?
Yeah, of course.
He was one of the bad guys. And then I think there was another like more of a villainous bad guy. I forget exactly what it was.
Oh, this is. I mean, that's just good casting. I think aren't they going to introduce an Oscar for casting now?
They should.
I believe they are. I think in the next couple of years. So I think that's absolutely true. Because some of these movies have incredible casting. Like they should be like. We should be talking about that more. Like that's good for them.
Noah Taylor also in these from Game of Thrones. Man, these had some heaters.
Yeah.
Walton Goggins was in fucking Tomb Raider.
Was he in the Alicia Vikander one?
The new one. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Which I also didn't really hate.
Did I?
Very mad movie, but it wasn't bad.
We got the first trailer for Rings of Power. I wrote RTP. I was like, what the fuck am I looking at? First trailer for Rings of Power Season 2, which we had just been talking about. And it was really funny that we had talked about it, right? And about how we had no desire to rewatch. And after talking about it, I was like, I really want to consume Lord of the Rings content. So I started watching Rings of Power, and I was like, I just want to watch the trilogy.
Yeah.
So I just rewatched the trilogy extended version over 6 Saturday instead. But I redid Rings of Power. I think if you, I did the meme bit of watching Breaking Bad and skipping the Skylar scenes, except I just skipped every scene that involved
The Harfoots.
Arondir and the Harfoots. Just the 2 most dud storylines.
Oh
It was fun. I was having fun with the rest of it.
Very funny. You pointed out immediately. They took those Harfoots the fuck out of that
Right out of the
trailer, and they're
trailer.
like, "Yep, we're not dealing with those little shit balls anymore."
Yeah, and noted not fantasy guy Clemmer. I'm assuming you hadn't seen it.
Yeah, I mean, the idea that you spend a Saturday rewatching just people
All 3.
walk in the woods, like what a waste of a day.
Oh,
You know, you only get. I'm sorry, you only get so many days. Yeah, that's.
so
Yeah, but if I'm gonna be hungover in my bed on a Sunday, there's nothing better than that green landscape, the Shire,
beautiful shots. They're beautiful movies.
They are. Yeah, to some extent. I think there's a boring aspect to even the landscape of it.
You look at the Shire and you think that's boring.
No, not at first. After
I think it's
hour
gorgeous.
12, you're like, all right, we see it. It's green. We get it.
I think it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I just love them, man. They're so fucking good. And then I started The Hobbit and stopped immediately. And then last
The desolation of
we
smog.
we haven't talked about the Lord of the Rings thing, have we?
what thing?
The fucking name? Oh wait, we talked about it last week. Andy Serkis coming back.
Oh yeah, so we did talk about that last week.
Yeah.
And then lastly, there's a new John Wick spin-off movie in the works, focusing on Donnie Yen's character Kane. Did you watch John Wick 4 yet?
I only watched John Wick 1 because of you guys, and that was fine.
Watch the next 2. So yeah, like it's good
Yeah,
lore.
that's fine.
But the character of Kane was very cool in John Wick 4. Like blind assassin guy. That usually plays. I feel like blind assassin, right? In most like action movies.
I don't know. I guess. Maybe I don't know. At some point, you're like, what do we do? Right? I mean, at some point, it's like blind assassin. Like, why?
So I agree with you in this case because the character was cool. Nothing about it screamed like I need to see more of Kane fighting in Hong Kong. Nothing about that, and especially after the Continental series was such like a bust.
Yeah.
Was that a bust?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
And all 4 movies, again, one of the most consistent and good franchises that have come out in the last like decade plus is the John Wick franchise. And for that series to be a bummer, and now for them to be like, yeah, we're gonna do a spin-off movie without Keanu, like I'm just not into it. Nothing about that.
They also have given us just 0 updates on this ballerina
Yeah,
movie with
that's
Ana de
true.
Armas that has been in production for 6 years now.
That's true.
And they keep saying it's coming out. Just one image is all I ask. One sniff.
When is that supposed to come out? Oh, oops, that's the different ballerina.
Like this year? I don't know.
John Wick Presents Ballerina is the title. That can't be right.
And he's in it.
Yeah.
Somehow.
It's Ana de Armas, Angelica. I always pronounce her name Houston, right?
Yeah, and Joe Houston, Jack
Yeah.
Nicholson's ex-wife.
Yeah. Keanu
Or
Reeves,
ex-partner.
Gabriel Byrne. Okay, that's good. And Lance Reddick, I guess, before he passed out a few spots in it. Norman
Do you know
Reedus.
who Angelica Houston's father was?
Jack Houston.
Yeah, the director of Chinatown.
Yeah. I did rewatch Chinatown.
Or sorry, not director. Roman Polanski directed Chinatown. He's in Chinatown. Excuse me.
I rewatched Chinatown pretty recently.
It holds up.
So fucking
It's
good.
so good.
Norman Reedus in this. Ian McShane obviously coming back as well. But what is going on with this?
Dude, it is like it's in production. They've shot a lot of this. I don't know.
John Houston. Jack Houston is the son. Now I'm all fucked up. John Houston is the dad. Is the father of Angelica
He
Houston.
went by Jack.
Jack Houston. No, that Jack Houston is the guy that's in Boardwalk Empire.
Oh, he's the fucked up face guy. Yeah. Even when I said it, I was like, that sounds familiar, but that doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
Let's see. So they finished. It was in post production in February 2023.
Oh wow.
What the
It was
fuck?
in post a year and a half ago or whatever. 15
Yeah, a
months
year
ago?
and change ago. In February 2024, producer Chad Stahelski, who obviously directed the John Wick movies, was working on additional sequences with the director of this, Len Wiseman.
Maybe it sucks.
What the fuck?
Trying
What
to
is
hide
going
it.
on?
That
with this?
sounds like it might suck. That
That's-
sounds like it might stink.
That's really bad. What
I'm
the?
excited for it, or I was, but the more this drags out, the more I'm like, yeah, they might have a problem.
Bleeding Cool called the footage that they saw at CinemaCon exactly what CinemaCon dreams are made of. They remarked the trailer was heavy on ass kicking and the combat was showcased was brutal.
Wait, they
So-
showed it at this year's CinemaCon?
I think so. Yeah. Yes.
Oh, so it should
2024
come out
CinemaCon.
this year.
It says it's scheduled to be released June 6th of 2025. It was
Oh,
previously scheduled to
sorry.
come out June 7th, 2024.
Yeah.
That is insane
Yeah, that's
for it
nuts.
to be going on this long.
So we'll see this Donnie Yen movie in 2029
Yeah. At this rate.
at the pace they're going.
Yeah. That's whatever. But anyway, that was Kane. Not the guy who I think that any of us were like, that needs a new spin-off movie. But that's movie news. A lot of stuff came out again because of the upfronts. But we'll be doing now reviews of both Fall Guy and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And Clemmer, who hasn't seen them yet, will be exit stage left.
Before I do, upfronts used to be the biggest deal in the world. You have them in May. This is back when network TV was important. And you look forward to this day. And I remember USA Today would print out the schedules of like, this is every network had their own day. And like, for instance, here's how big the deal the upfronts were. That's when Johnny Carson announced he's retiring from the Tonight Show at an NBC upfront. It's like in a year from now, I'm retiring. It was upfronts could be front page news. I mean, this was in the 90s. Upfronts were everything.
Why would they announce that at an upfront? Wouldn't that be like the opposite of what you would want as a network?
Why?
Like, hey, one of our biggest talent
has 1 year left. This is my last year.
So it's like it's a feeding.
I'm going to retire.
We're starting the search for the replacement.
So, but like,
that was
is the idea like feeding frenzy, buy all the ads you can, like because it's his last year.
Yeah, and also is a newsworthy. That's where you made news. That's where you went and made big announcements. I think I want to say even when Fox got NFL in '94, upfronts were a big part of it. Like upfronts were a gigantic deal. It was Entertainment Weekly would have stuff about it. Like I said, USA Today every day would have a different thing. It was the biggest deal in the world. Now upfronts don't mean shit because TV, all media is 24/7 now. We don't have like that typical like school schedule anymore. There's no summer dumping ground anymore, really. Yeah. And then network TV doesn't matter anymore. I mean,
what do you think about cable coming back?
I never get rid of cable. I've had cable. I have Fios in my house right now. I always have cable. I like live, like for the Oscars or sports. I like having cable like that immediacy. So I never got it, but I do have streaming services, obviously Netflix, Hulu, and that sort of stuff. I find it to be aggravating to flip back and forth from a streaming service to the cable. I wish everything was just on cable. But now and we all knew this was going to happen, right? Like we knew
eventually,
and
they started bundling even like as early as like 3-4 years ago. So it's going to happen eventually.
And this is just kind of where we're going. And I feel bad for network TV where now it's just a place where old people go to watch like Blue Bloods and shit like that. Because why would you want to watch something that A, has commercials, and B, more importantly, has like, FCC regulations. You can't say certain things. When I could easily just go and watch something on Netflix, Hulu, whatever, that doesn't have those same restrictions. Like it's a no-brainer. So any audience that's 50 or younger is always going to gravitate more to the streaming services. And I don't know how you change that.
That's a tough sell. I think it's just money. Like you just need to make it seem like this is the more financially viable or effective sort of thing to go to this venue instead of going.
And I feel like if you put on network TV shows, I watch Survivor, I love Survivor, but I watch football obviously and stuff on network TV, but I don't watch a lot of the other shows. The commercials for those shows look so cheap than what you'd see on FX or what you see on HBO or you see even I know Netflix sometimes that stuff looks cheap as fuck, but like. I feel like if I go to a streaming service, Amazon Prime, I'm seeing Apple TV has amazing production quality compared to, whatever, Chicago Fire on NBC. It looks shitty.
Yeah.
So, like, they can't keep up financially. They can't keep up from a script perspective. And now you have them being censored. So, upfronts, before I go, I just want to, rest in peace to upfronts. They used to matter, and I used to look forward to them. Oh, my God, I would get so excited for May. You would plan out your fall. Be like, oh, my God, Seinfeld's moving to this time? Oh, what is this show? Friends is going to premiere the same night as the show ER? ER is going against Chicago Hope? What does this mean? Like, you get so excited about these things.
It's like Jeff at the Apple.
This is the schedule release.
Yeah.
It was
the NFL schedule release.
It was the same thing.
Yeah.
Only back then, no one cared about the NFL schedule release. We all cared about the upfronts, and now it's flipped. But enjoy, boys.
All right, 2 quick movie reviews. The first being Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Obviously, movie set after the trilogy. Like they say, many generations later? Or something.
Yeah, they just very vague.
Yeah. Not directed by Matt Reeves. This time directed by Wes Ball. No Andy Serkis either. Stars Owen Teague, who I didn't recognize the monkey just looking at the monkey. But then, like, once I saw the actor, he was in this really good movie called like You Hurt My Feelings. Did you ever watch that?
That's the one. Yeah, with Julia. I didn't see that, but I remember you said it was. Very good.
Very fun movie. Or very like I don't know if fun's the right word. Very a very good watch. I think that's the best way to put it. But he was in that. Freya Allen, who was in the Witcher series, and Kevin Durand, who's in a whole bunch of stuff. Great, one of my favorite great bad guys. William H. Macy there for like a hot minute. It's set like right after Caesar's death. A whole bunch of shit going down. We'll talk like mostly in non-spoilers, and then we can do like a couple spoiler things. This is a movie where, and we talked a bit about this when I saw it a while ago in the last episode. I was so hesitant about this movie, mostly because, again, no Matt Reeves, he's been on the biggest heater, and he directed the last 2 of the 8 movies, which were amazing. and no Andy Serkis, who was like the god of motion capture and was like the main focal point of the first 3 movies. So them not being there, and then this guy Wes Ball being involved in it, who hadn't really done anything other than the Maze Runner trilogy. It's like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, how do you possibly expand upon this and it still be good? And Wes Ball obviously now signed on to do Zelda.
Yeah, which I get that now.
Yeah,
I get it. I saw this movie and I was like, yep, that makes sense.
It tracks. They made this movie, budgeted $160 million. This movie, I think, was really fucking good. And I think that I was blown. My expectations were far exceeded past what I thought they would be. I think the big highlights for me are, I think visually, and I tweeted this too, I think it's like a benchmark movie. I think it's a movie where you look at it and you're like, how the fuck did they do this?
So you have this pulled up. You might be able to verify this for me. It's the main VFX studio they worked with. It's the same one that Way of Water used, right?
It's from
and
Weta.
Yes. Which that showed. The last 20 minutes we'll talk about
Dude.
But yeah, you could, like, the VFX are just, they're mind blowing. It's just like with Way of Water, where you're like, holy shit, how did they do this?
They look so goddamn good. Let's see, did they do the last one? They did all of these, I think.
They did the original trilogy too?
I think,
or not the original, but the
Rise of the Planet of the Apes. They were able to develop. They did, like, I guess solely the mocap.
Okay.
But I think that this is a movie where you watch it and visually, the way like mouths move, the way hair moves, the way shit looks, it looks about as real as I've seen anything. And I think one specific point I wanted to like note when I saw it was, not only did it look great in the daytime, it looked amazing in the nighttime, which is usually not the case. Usually that's a huge struggle, especially just like the light and shadow and the way that bounces off like CGI shit. It looked incredible at nighttime. So again, effects are, I think, huge positive. All the stuff on the sets, like the physical sets, looked great.
Yep.
All the stuff that they grafted on with CGI, like the tree houses and all that shit, looked really cool. I think all of the ape actors were amazing. Kevin Durant,
dude, learning about ape school,
dude, it was so fun.
Like, awesome. Not something I would have ever thought about, but if you don't know this, they send their actors to ape school,
literal ape school,
for like
how to
5 months too. Like, not like a weekend. They sent them there to learn how to fucking monkey around. And like, yeah, it was Durand and Teague, and they're like on the Today Show, like showing how they fucking like learn
how they walk around, how they walk, how they talk, how they enunciate. Like, it's a lot of shit. And I think it just, all the ape actors are incredible. I think the story was really interesting, especially because like this is essentially like a soft reboot in a way where like you had your whole story based around Caesar for the first 3 movies.
Yep.
You had to do something totally different, like all new characters, no attachment, no nothing. And I think they did a great job of setting up the new world, setting up new characters that you can care about. And I think that the only big negative I have from this movie is like, yeah, you could chop like 15-20 off this, but at the same time, the first act maybe feels slow because they're taking all this time to set up this brand new world. Like, again, we're not looking at like right after this like apocalyptic event. We're like generations in the future, brand new characters, brand new story, brand new everything. I think they did a great job setting all that stuff up. I love the new characters, and I like the setup for the future. Really liked it.
Yeah, I really love the setup for the future, and that was kind of where I was most nervous. I was like, they're doing another trilogy. How are they gonna really kick it off from here, especially without Matt Reeves and this big gap between the 2 trilogies? Now they've announced that they're going to do 9 movies. I completely see the vision now.
Yeah.
Like, this trilogy focusing on building up the ape empire, and then I'm going to assume the 3rd trilogy will deal with the ape empire falling and the humans taking it back, which is just a great storyline.
Mm-hmm.
So that was great. Like you said, probably could take 20 minutes off the front act, but I didn't hate it. The visual effects are so amazing that it feels like they're just kind of showing off at the beginning, and it's such a big spectacle. It's a fucking shame John Krasinski's animated movies kicking this out of the big screens this weekend.
That's right.
This should be a 2 to 3 week run on IMAX. Like, this is something you should go see on the biggest screen possible, best resolution you can get. Big sound, sounded great too, by the way. Really loved. I've always loved the scores in these movies. It was just a fucking great time. It doesn't ascend to like great status, but it is a great fucking time at the theater. And that's, if you're going to ask anything out of these movies, the ape movies, is just to be fun. And then a very memorable, I think, villain. I think the monkey really villain, good. And that's a tough thing to do, a fully CGI'd villain without like human characteristics. We've really only seen it done very well, once with Thanos, I think.
Yeah.
Can you think of another fully CGI'd villain?
Like,
it's been done a million times.
I guess, but like even then, he was much more complex, I think.
Yes.
But the man, dude, fucking Proximus was so good.
Yes.
And just like intimidating and scary, and like you don't really get him until like later in the movie, and he steals every scene he's in like almost immediately. I also think that Peter Macon as Rocco, the orangutan,
dude, he
was good.
He was so good.
He was his voice is so like perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Skip ahead 10 seconds if you don't want a quick spoiler. He better not be fucking dead.
I don't think he's dead. I don't think he's dead
either.
I don't think he's dead. But I think that Rocco was really cool. I think that I saw a funny tweet where it's like every ape movie or media franchise, the chimpanzee needs to be a war. Like the smart one. Chimpanzee's the smart one. The orangutan's the sage.
Yeah, the wise. I saw someone post him and then Maurice next to each other.
Yeah,
and it was like, oh, the conversations they would have had.
They are the wise ones, and then the silverbacks are like the heavies,
big generals,
the tanks.
Yes.
Yeah. But I think that all that stuff worked really well here. I think the biggest, like maybe again, like you could chop some time off for sure. I think that our one true human character in Freya Allen is like a kind of a dud.
Yeah, nothing, but it's a setup.
Yeah.
For more stuff down the line. I like that they did the Nova callback.
Yeah, that was nice.
All the humans called Nova. And I like the twist at the end quite a bit.
Yeah,
quite a bit.
Very good.
But yes,
twist.
they didn't give her much to do. She had one really good scene, I thought, when she looks at the humans that have lost kind of their intellect, and she kind of stands there and is like depressed. But outside of that, there was nothing much there to really grab onto.
I think my favorite scene of hers would be at the very end when they have that little conversation while she's like packing in the like behind.
Oh yeah,
you know I mean, like that I think was really good. All right, well, let's say spoilers from now on, just in case. But yeah, I think that scene at the end when they're rebuilding, she has a gun and like she's like, they're like, do you think we could ever coexist? And she's like, I don't know, like it's not a thing because she had technically like betrayed Noah. I think that scene was good, and I think that most of this movie I liked way more of this movie than anything I disliked. And I initially said like I could see people thinking that this is as good as like any of the best. I don't think it's as good as Dawn. Dawn is I think probably like the Dawn and War are probably like neck and neck.
I rewatched. Yeah, they just have very different strengths. Yeah. War is just,
but they also had the benefit of being set up by Rise.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like this, it's very difficult, almost in the same way as like Fellowship. I know you're more of a Fellowship super stan, but like you can't have Two Towers or Return of the King without Fellowship existing. I think the same thing will happen if all goes according to plan with the next two sequels for this movie. But really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, the only, I guess, another thing that I want to see more of, looking down the line, is give Noah,
Yep,
Noah a little bit more gravitas, because it is like there's a noticeable, and they kind of work it into the plot very well, but there's a very noticeable Caesar-sized hole in this movie where there isn't that kind of character, like a truly iconic. I mean, Caesar, people have been rewatching these movies, and kind of coming back to it and being like, well, Caesar really might be an all-time character, and he is, and replacing that, there's no replacement in this movie for that. But I think Noah can, if they want to develop him into that, I think it can very easily happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think that maybe the thing with it too is like he's not supposed to be the leader, and he kind of grows into it. Like
by the end,
he has that sort of Caesar-ish moment at the very end with like the birds all coming or the hawks all coming in. And, like,
when they started singing the song, I need that.
Birds.
I need that. I wonder if it's on the soundtrack.
Yeah,
because I need to learn that. I need to get me and my boys to start singing that.
And all the hawks come like running in and attacking. That scene was really good.
But the VFX one that I was talking about, the water, the wet fur. Flopping around, like every single animal's fur looked perfect.
Yep.
When it was wet and it would get dry and the beads dropping off, they were just showing off at that point. They had several scenes with water, so you knew they wanted to show off on what the technology that they had developed through Way of Water, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And they brought it over because it looks so good.
Looked phenomenal. Like visually, this is like a stunner. Again, like big time benchmark, not just for like mocap, but just like visual effects in general. And I think we're seeing a lot of movies now where like again, this is a $160 million budget. Like that, it's already I think lapped back worldwide. But they're able to do like crazy cool things on like a pretty like reasonable budget.
Yeah, I think the next movie we're going to talk about, Fall Guy, I think exact same budget, right? In the same sphere at least, right?
I think so, but that would also be a little bit of 125 to 150 million. That could just
different movie, but
that's
you
also
can see what you can get for 150 million dollars.
That's also a star power thing, though.
Yeah,
where, like Gosling and Blunt don't come cheap. But yeah, so that was Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I really liked it. I give it like an E, like low 80s probably.
Yeah,
Like,
see it in theaters.
big time. It would be great theater.
It won't hit the same at home. It'll still be good, but it's definitely a theaters movie.
And as a note, like I went and saw it with my fiance who never watched any of the other Ape movies. She had a great time. So don't worry too much about setup. They give you most everything you need right in the beginning. The Fall Guy. From David Leitch, obviously starring Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Hannah Waddingham, Stephanie Sue, which is a random. Stephanie Sue down here. Winston Duke, among others. Movie. It's based on, I believe, a TV show, right? Like the old.
Yeah, I did not know that either until the opening credits.
Yeah, the 1980s TV show, which they make a couple references to, especially like a little bit in the beginning and at the end. So this movie is one where I went and saw it for at a screening, and I was like, I don't know, like the rom-com space has been pretty dumpy lately. You know what I mean? Just not been a huge fan. But at the same time, Leach has been amazing, usually at most things he does, or at least solid at everything he does. Like with Bullet Train, like solid.
Yes,
and
I saw one of my friends on Letterboxd said he's within striking distance of making a great movie.
Yes, always.
He's just right there, and I think he's gonna get it, but he hasn't really got. This is, I think, in the same ballpark of everything he's done.
So this movie, again, my expectations were not crazy high, despite loving most of this cast and liking the director. I really, really enjoyed Fall Guy quite a bit. I thought it was really one of the funnier rom-coms I've seen in a long time. Again, this is a pretty low bar. Rom-coms have been in like a pretty tough space lately, or pretty tough spot lately. I thought it was super funny. I think Gosling and Blunt had actual chemistry, which is a huge plus considering that's just been lacking in a lot of rom-coms in recent memory. Gosling and Blunt crush it. Aaron Taylor Johnson, I think everyone he's on screen, he's very, very funny. Winston Duke sneakily crushing every line he's in. Hannah Waddingham as a producer just inhaling Diet Coke killed me.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of particular scenes in this I think were all super, super, super funny. And once it picks up, like the action is actually very, very cool. And I love that they do like the little ending bit post credit, like I guess like a gag reel. I love that too.
That was fun.
Really had fun with it. Thought it was funny. Thought the romance was good and not overstated. It was like the perfect level of it. And just had a really fun time. Super fun time with Fall Guy.
Yeah, no, this is PG-13, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, no, this is like a quintessential like PG-13 for the family. Like, if I go home this summer, and I think I should, this will be a movie that I'll be like, if we're all sitting in the living room, I'll be like, Fall Guy's right there. We can watch this with the whole fam. Mm-hmm. Everyone will enjoy it to some extent. It's funny, like you said, charming chemistry between Blunt and Gosling, very charming. I almost wish they were on screen more together. Waddingham as a just ridiculous producer killed me, and Winston Duke just saying movie lines the whole movie. Doesn't work with really many actors, but for some reason it did for him, and I loved it.
Daniel Day-Lewis as he throws the tomahawk at the guy, very funny.
The soundtrack, I've been listening to the opening Blake Shelton song.
Yes.
Yeah, the Blake Shelton song fucking rips. I like it a lot.
Even like AC/DC,
like
main theme, really good. Their like repurposing of it was good.
And then there's some meta stuff in there that's like you will enjoy if you're a Hollywood fan or a fan of movies. Like
they give out Oscars for that, right?
Yeah, there's some meta. Yeah, like Oscars. I think they're very clearly taking shots at Matthew McConaughey throughout the movie. Yeah. Which is, I gotta know who we pissed off at some point, because Aaron Taylor Johnson is just doing a full-on McConaughey impression,
big time.
Like it can't be anyone else.
Yeah.
And then another issue where it runs a little long, but
sure.
I can forgive that. I was high, so
I didn't dislike. There's no scene where I was watching it and I'm like, this is wow. How do you not cut this?
Yeah.
There was like I mostly liked everything I liked, but I did feel a little bit of it. Yeah.
The third act too. I loved how they worked the movie they were making into the third act.
Yes.
The final set pieces. Like
yeah.
Usually if they try to do that shit, it just completely does not hit the mark. I think it actually works here.
Yeah.
And it was fun. And then the Momoa
showing up at the
great.
So spoiler is going. I should have said it a second earlier. But like the Momoa references throughout it. I like the entire Aaron Taylor Johnson post-it note memento thing.
Yeah,
super fucking funny. Like is it Mama or Momoa?
Yeah.
Like I think all of that. The fight sequence, like even your opening fight sequence in the club, I thought was very funny.
Mm-hmm.
The whole scene where like they're starting to make up. And like she keeps like lighting him on fire and throwing him into the
yeah.
That whole sequence is super fucking funny.
With the people with their mouths on, they have like their all the costumes. And
Yeah.
if you're a fan of Hollywood, I think you will really enjoy this. I
Yeah.
think there's kind of actually no way you don't enjoy it to some extent because there's so much behind the scenes shit that's just enjoyable to look at.
The one like extras like being like
Yeah.
the microphone and he's like, that happened when I fell in love with my wife's sister. Like, nope.
Like, nope, give it back.
Different thing. Those were fun. So many funny lines throughout it, I thought. And Gosling obviously is just a king of delivery and comedic timing and just so good at this.
No, he's on a roll and he doesn't miss comedically.
Yeah.
He does he need to do more of this stuff, or is just one of these every few years good enough?
I think so, and it wasn't too much. Like the scene of him like crying in the listening.
Yeah,
to
it's
Taylor
all
Swift,
too
very funny.
well. Yeah,
Yeah, that was great. I think there's like very few points where I'm like, this is dumb. Like I love the stunt fight sequence at the end.
yeah, oh yeah,
where they all
stunt
plan it.
team.
Yeah,
Or
stunt
something?
team. I agree.
Yeah.
I forgot what they yelled at them, but that whole fight sequence I thought was really cool. I love the man bun Australian bodyguard guy.
Oh, of course.
It's a perfect like heavy. You know what I mean?
I think this movie did get hurt a little bit, and by a little bit I mean a lot, by a terrible marketing campaign, which
He did a weird job at it, yeah.
not only made me not want to see the movie at multiple points during its 8-month trailer run with 4-minute trailers, but also a lot of that movie was in the fucking trailer.
Mhm.
Like a lot of it. And if you go to the movies as much as we do and you see that trailer enough times, you just see stuff you've already seen before. And I really wish I'd been seeing it for the first time.
Yeah.
Really, really wish. I mean, the final action piece is literally in like the trailer, like a crescendo moment in the trailer, which I didn't expect, but it just is. Which is what it is. You got to get people to the theater, but I think there is probably a better way to do it.
The Miami Vice jacket.
Yeah,
I love
cool
that.
as fuck.
I actually, you know what I really liked was the sequence where they're having the full car chase throughout Sydney or whatever, and while that's happening, Emily Blunt's singing "Journey" or something. And
Oh yeah,
I thought that was really cool.
Great voice.
Yeah, dude.
Great voice. I mean,
maybe
yeah,
edited or
Mary
whatever.
Poppins, but
Maybe edited. I have no idea, but I mean,
she sang with Mary Poppins.
It's true. But I think that was really cool. The whole framing of with CGI deepfake shit, and she's like, "It's what they do to Tom Cruise."
Oh yeah, completely
Cruise.
forgot about
Yeah.
the yeah. It's very there's a lot of commentary on modern Hollywood,
Yeah.
which I enjoyed. I don't know if the general audiences will pick up on that, but there's so much other stuff here for them to enjoy. That
Him constantly wanting coffee and the machine constantly being broken or
Yeah.
getting broken as he gets it. That was a good bit. A lot of just very small and sometimes running things like, oh, what if you do a split screen? That things I thought was cool.
Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what else that might have been missing because I'd seen it twice now. The ending with Aaron Taylor Johnson's like death was funny.
Yeah.
No cell phones. I got you now. Blows up. Trying to think what else. And then the ending with like Momoa replacing him is just a great cherry on top.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's just like didn't see it coming. Honestly,
Yeah.
I should have because they hint at it multiple times in the movie. If I was 14 years old, this would be my number one movie of the year. This would probably be my number one movie of the year.
Dude.
This is like prime 13-year-old, 14-year-old. Gooch would have loved this and not shut up about it.
Well, you like your hat. All the directors are wearing when all the like that's just a thing like for us. You know what I mean? Like they all do wear those that stupid hat.
Yep.
And Metal Storm. It's a cosmic love story at
Yeah,
the edge of the universe.
That
like,
movie sounded terrible, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
my
Awful.
god.
Tall H. The
I forgot about that. She's got Hall H.
Yeah. We're doing a oneer in front of Sydney Opera House. Like, oh, I can't believe we have to do this. And she's like, you hear it's a oneer? And he's like, yeah, great. And that was great. Man, dude, there's like nothing in this where I'm like, wow, that was a dud, or this was lame. I did also love him being the like the valet sequence.
Oh yeah, when he fucks
Right,
around with
yeah.
that guy's car.
Yeah, that was also very funny. Really liked it. Also, just in the opening shot, the oneer I thought was really cool too.
Which one was that? I can't
Just
even
like the
remember.
entire opening where it's like him going from the trailer
Yes.
all the way
Okay,
up and then jumping off and then that cut, but like that full like it's probably like what 6-7 minutes or something.
Yeah, no, because the title card doesn't come in until then.
Yeah,
right?
but that whole walk up and them talking on the radio, like all that shit, I think that was a really cool opening shot. And then I never watched the 80s show, but then you see like the two, I guess, people from the 80s show at the end.
Which one were they?
The two, for some reason, American cops that come and arrest Hannah Waddingham at the end of it. And again, I love her inhaling Diet Coke. And, like bigger portions, almost like the TMZ bit and Popstar. like bigger portions of Diet Coke every single time you see her. Like at the end of it, it's like a
with the
cup
straw,
like this big.
with the straw too.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the Fall Guy. Really liked it. Would highly recommend it. I think for me, it'd be like in the mid 80s. I would say, especially for a rom com, it'd be like solidly mid 80s, like 85.
I'll go mid 70s. I think it misses like one punch. Like
Sure.
it's almost to that. It's like the same thing with all of. I like all of his movies, David Leitch, but they're just missing like one thing or like one thing. If you change the end of Bullet Train, that third act, it might be a little bit better. He's close. He's
there.
very close. I think he'll get there one day and he'll make something very memorable that people love for generations. But for now, it's just very enjoyable summer blockbusters, and I have no problem with that.
Yeah, agreed. But that's Fall Guy. We'll be back next week. What's coming to theaters this week?
I think I might do The Strangers tonight.
When's Furiosa?
Furiosa is still 2 weeks out.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like we're a little bit away from that.
Or a week out. Next week.
Let's
Seen
see.
it Thursday at 4:00. Very first shot.
Babes Q&A with Lana Glazer. That's just If probably not gonna watch.
I
That's
probably
not one
won't
for
see
this.
that. I've also heard it is just not the kids movie. It is sold to me. It is maybe a little heavier than it's being sold.
The Strangers Chapter 1, which you mentioned, Back to Black, which I always saw was a TikTok ad for it. It looked so like. How do you get? She has such an iconic voice, right, Amy Winehouse. If you can't find someone that can match that, which is impossible, don't have her sing.
Yeah.
Like, don't do what fucking
Bohemian Rhapsody
did and won an Oscar doing. Just fucking dub it. No one would care. Don't have someone try and fail miserably to sing that song. All these other ones we've either talked about, I don't totally love. Like, I saw the TV Glow. We mentioned Challengers.
People
I don't think
loving that movie.
Challengers people like, but I feel like that's the
I
moment's
might go
kinda
see that
passed.
again.
Fall Guy, the Blue Angels. You can watch the Blue Angels in IMAX. Probably not gonna do that. Babes, and that I guess is the one that she's doing the thing for, but that's not one either. But I think maybe if not something else. We probably have a streaming one coming.
Evil
out.
Does Not Exist, I think, comes out this weekend.
Maybe the Strangers. I like maybe have Eddie on because he's like the number one Strangers fan.
Yeah.
You might be into that. Either way, we'll be back next week with a new movie.